So we are here at the Washoe Haunted Hotel, Virginia City, Nevada, as seen on
Good Adventures. That's Zach. I don't know this, but I know him Zach.
So if you guys are a fan of Ghost Adventure, the TV show, this is one of the places they covered, and we're gonna walk through it. Catch us a ghost. Yee-hee.
Gonna see the ghost.
And on it's gonna like disintegrate. And I'm like, just get some.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Mom.
This is smells centuries.
I think I smell a ghost.
Smells century.
Oh, that's a cool couch.
You're not supposed to see. I don't know if you heard.
I did.
So this is only from the century. This is original.
Oh, excuse me. Oh, sorry.
Everyone's like bouncing around. We have like little pinballs. Have you guys been up here before?
First time.
First time.
Newbies.
Yep.
I'm like, you hear that, ghosties? Have you guys all seen Ghost Adventures?
Yes.
Ghost Adventures actually did get their start up here in our building. They caught their very first full-bodied apparition in our ballroom. Of course, I will take you to where they found him as well. You guys are more than welcome to take pictures. You guys always seem to get the cool stuff. I take pictures and get absolutely nothing. I'm like, cool, thanks for playing, guys. The most common thing we do get up here are a lot of footsteps. Sometimes we'll hear disembodied voices, shadows up and down the hallways. Of course, usually always out of the corner of your eye, but every now and then someone will see something, usually at the top of that second flight of stairs. This building, when it was originally built in 1862, was not intended to be the Millionaires Club. So these top two floors was all lawyers' offices and doctors' offices. They had some retail space up here as well. And then, of course, the millionaires came in 1875, kicked everyone out, lawyers, doctors, retailers. They were millionaires. So they actually did turn this into their club. They actually had their own bar up here, their own poker room, pool tables. Of course, ladies of the night would come through as well. Usually they would use the third floor for ladies of the night purposes because the Millionaires Club was on the second floor. The building itself was never a brothel. So a lot of people ask, because ladies of the night, there were quite a few brothels here back in those days. There was actually more brothels than churches at some point in Virginia City. All the way up until 1984, these top two floors were all apartments, which really not horribly long ago in the grand scheme of things. There are still some people that live in town that lived up here in the 1970s, 1980s. So, kind of awesome. I mean, it's still hot outside right now.
Are you feeling?
You're feeling something?
I feel nauseous.
You feeling bad energy?
Yeah.
Ghosts are connecting with Chef Rochelle.
What time? Say that.
Everyone at work is called somebody else.
That's so weird. That's so weird. Because we were standing over there, it's like someone's like doing on my hair.
Because it's not creepy enough as it is up here. Yeah. So sure, add some aliens. I know people always ask me too before they come up, they're like, are there jump scares? And I'm like, technically, no. They don't move. If he moves, I just have to outrun one of you guys. Yeah. He hasn't moved yet, but like still, like I could warn people till my head falls off, and they'll come around the corner and still scream. I'm like, sorry, I told you. That's kind of funny. We actually had one more up here on the third floor, but Zach Baggins from Ghost Adventures, he actually bought it and put it in his museum in Vegas. So he's apparently, I've never been there. I've been told that the mannequin sits down by the restrooms, and I was like, well, thank you for putting our mannequin by the restroom. This room, Ghost Adventures, when they were here the second time, they actually did catch the Shadow Man up here in this room. So they actually, Zach and Aaron were standing in here, and their producer took a picture of them from the doorway in. And of course, using flash, this room rarely sees sun. This is pretty much as light as this room ever gets. On the wall, so using the flash, you could see Zach and Aaron's shadows, but there was a third shadow next to theirs.
Wow.
So of course Zach and Aaron did what they do best and ran out of the building. When they left, the third shadow was still on the wall. I've actually caught the shadow man, not in this room, but in those 3 rooms over there. I'm like, where is he?
That's so weird.
He's huge. So this is my best friend in the picture, and then the shadow is the big dude behind her. So this is Stephanie. But you see how big he is. He's blocking out an entire window.
Yeah.
So this big dude here. Which it was cool because she was like, I feel like there's something behind me, take a picture. So we tried so many different things, we could not figure it out. You could actually kind of see through his hat. You could see the design on the door back there. But it's, yeah, that girl, it was like a 3 o'clock tour, I think. Doesn't matter if it's light out, doesn't matter if it's dark. They're always here. I actually get more activity downstairs in the bar.
Oh wow. Oh yeah, because that's all
I think that's because they want to have fun.
yeah.
And that's what they remember. Like, that's the thing. Like, people will come up here and investigate, and they always ask the same questions. Like, if you're here, can you knock? Or, like, make a noise. I'm like, they don't want to do that. They miss having fun. So when I'm up here, I'm like, all right, guys, let's sit down and play some cards. So I'll put some cards out in the poker room. Like, I'll bring a glass of, like, I don't usually put whiskey in it, but I'll put water in it. And I'll be like, here's your whiskey, and, like, that's when everything pops off. Is when you're just sitting there, like, talking to them, like, what's alive? Like, I'm sure when we all die, I don't want, like, someone to be out, hey, can you knock? I mean, like, knock you upside the head. These 3 rooms were originally used as library space. So when the lawyers and doctors were up here, this is where they kept all their records. One lucky family in the 1980s, this was their large apartment. They actually did have their own kitchen and their own bathroom. That sounds so weird. But most of the apartments are really small, so they actually had to share bathrooms and kitchens, kind of like dorm room living or hostel living. There's still some lovely 1980s linoleum over here. I'm pretty sure we all had that at one point growing up.
Yes.
I'm like, I know we had it at my parents' house. Have you guys moseyed back into the crypt at all today? I will take you down there. The crypt is our final destination. I like to show you guys from up here too. I know, right?
We're all gonna die in the crypt.
Come on. And then I add the evil laugh, which doesn't make it better. But you can actually see it from up here. It's kind of cool. And it gives you kind of a perspective as to where we're standing in the building. Hopefully the compressor doesn't go off. It's really loud and it likes to go off when I'm telling you about the trip. I was screaming to myself. Down to the left, you can actually look right down into the crypt. It's really kind of cool. It's really fun when there's people in the crypt and we're up here. And they're always like, how'd you guys get upstairs? Then my tour is like, how'd you guys get down there? So the crypt originally was used for food storage because it is so much cooler down there. It's usually about 20 to 30 degrees cooler down there than anywhere else. It's quite lovely. It's my favorite place in the entire building because it is nice and cool and it's super quiet. And then, of course, in the winter, they discovered they couldn't dig to bury the bodies because the ground was just too frozen. So, yep, it was basically a temporary morgue. So they would throw the bodies in burlap sacks, throw them in the crypt alongside their food supply. Because that's sanitary and all. I'm hoping they have
Keep your light on in there so I can video.
Food on the other side, because I can't imagine grabbing a sack of what you thought. Don't drop it. And you get home and you're like, here you go, family. Oh, bad, awkward day for everyone.
Are we ever gonna get to go down?
Yeah, we will. It's our final
At
At
test.
one point, they had about 77 bodies stacked up at once. And of course, they would leave the bodies there till the springtime and the ground was off, and they could actually bury the bodies. We have our crypt here. Silver Queen had one. Mackey Mansion had one as well. Ours is the only one we still have access to. I think the one at the Silver Queen, you could like open the door and look in, but you can't actually go walk into it. Ours, we can just, I hang out there. There's apartments right behind the building. It kind of looks like it's attached to the building. but it is like its own owner and everything. That'd be really cool. I actually asked the owner, like, I was like, are you ever gonna let people live upstairs again? He said no. I'm really sad because they're already playing in one of the rooms upstairs. No, these are all fancy shops. None of the furniture or the pictures are original to the building, unfortunately.
So what happened in this room?
So this was the ballroom. It plays on loop in our museum all day long. All Zach, all day. It's like a 2-hour-long documentary. He goes to 4 different places. So you kind of have to like wait it out to get to the Washoe part, but sometimes we get lucky and we get downstairs and it's actually on the right spot. And I'm like, yes. It's very few and far between, but it does happen. Sometimes I think the ghosts get tired of hearing Zach all day long. It's kind of funny because we'll go down there and the TV will be off. We'll try to turn it back on. We can't turn it on, and all of a sudden, like 4 hours later, it's back. We're like, okay, you're not over now. And of course, that's from 2004, so it's a very young Zach Bagans. It's quite entertaining. This is my absolute favorite thing up here. Smells like Freddy's going. That's wrong.
You know what? When we're at the first room, I'm having like nauseous. I don't know if just the room temperature or stuff like that. But we're in this room right now. It's like goosebumps. So weird. This is the first time I'm doing it.
Uh-oh. We're disconnecting with Chef Rochelle.
It's a kneeling wedding and an original spit can.
Oh, babe, look at this one. I'll show you. Show this to you, babe.
So I think at one point there was a staircase that went down into the ballroom, and I was like, "It's the creepiest doorway ever." There is a little staircase in between the buildings that actually leads down to our members' room where the pool table is, and they. Okay, we just said stay on the 3rd floor so we can So we all come out. All of us are still on the 3rd floor. So whatever clapped at us on the 2nd floor was not living and was not one of us. We continued playing. It was kind of funny. We're dorks. This room.
Oh.
she's a little crazy. There's a lady, so I don't have their backstory, but there's a lady that comes on our tours and likes to leave a doll every time, and we're like, this is some new wallpaper we put up.
Oh, so this is the one they recreated?
Yeah. I think it looks really good.
This is nice.
And this is some new wallpaper as well. This was the first room they did, actually.
This is nice.
This one's pretty. This one used to be my favorite. Till they put the one in the hallway. Now I think that's my favorite. This lovely lady in her chair here, she actually does rock her chair. I've seen her do it like 4 times in 10 years. She never does it on command. Usually it's when we're walking by the room to go back downstairs.
Maybe she just wanted to notice something.
Right? She does it all the time. One of our other tour guides does not like her. And I was like, that's probably why she rocks every time you're up here. Like, he doesn't bring tours in here. Like, he's just like, nope. They say if you take her picture, sometimes she will smile. She's attached to a little girl named Winifred.
Aww.
So we call her Winnie.
Show yourself. I'm not afraid.
Another one.
She does offer, she'll offer at 9 o'clock to work here. But right now, by 8 o'clock, it's decently done. This is my favorite room upstairs. This is the room I claimed. If you ever let people live here, I was like, this one's mine. I love it. It's the light in here is amazing. The view, good lord. On a clear day, you can see about 100 miles out.
There's another one.
And
See happy people on the wall.
that picture is the creepiest. And I don't know who any of these people are. She looked so miserable. I thought it was one of those post-mortem pictures.
Yeah.
I was like, is she dead? Like, one of the only places in Virginia City you'll get both of those churches in one picture.
Oh.
We're gonna get that.
What time is it? 2:30. Okay. I was like, so the big church, the Catholic church, if you guys have never seen the inside, they're open till 4. It's gorgeous. Like, stained glass is amazing. The woodwork is awesome. On the right-hand side of the museum, if you're looking, or church, they have a museum downstairs. It's free to go in. There's a lot of stuff in there. To raise like $3 million.
Oh, yeah.
They're not even halfway there. Like Nick Groff from Ghost Adventures, or used to be on Ghost Adventures, he was here about a month ago doing an event. They actually investigated that church.
Wow. That is really
It's gorgeous. It was actually featured on Ripley's Believe It or Not, back when that was actually a show.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's
That
quite
is
lovely.
a cool
Wait, how come they're not here for the spider?
The what?
How come it's like weird then? Spider.
because they're hard
It's-
to make.
Yeah, and there's no
So there's a shelf.
so it's freestanding. Great. There's another one, the one in Santa Fe was built by this dude that showed up, like, didn't eat, didn't sleep, just built the staircase and disappeared. We have no idea who he is. They tested the wood.
Look at Zach.
It's a wood that they've never heard of. They say they found him buried in the walls of the Washoe Club. They actually say that if you bury a cat in the walls, it's supposed to ward off evil spirits and bring you good luck. I think he's
I've
cute.
heard that too.
Yeah, it's like, oops, sorry. Oh, it's nice and cool. I love it. In the
Just wait.
winter, it's a little bit
This is where all the dead bodies were.
cold. Yes. So I'm hoping the bodies were on this side. They most likely were, because you can only stack so high. I mean, I'm 4'11", so I can't stack very high. Anyways,
So wait, they put this was the dead bodies.
Yeah.
Guys. This is where they put the dead bodies.
Why are we here?
so they would eventually have to drop them from the ledge down.
So they dropped the dead bodies from up there.
Are you
Yep. So they start off down here like they carry them in and then stack them as high as they could. And then once it got to the point where they couldn't stack anymore, they would drop them down.
just drop bodies?
Yep. Yeah. So I'm hoping, since the bodies were most likely on this side, the food was over there, obviously back there. Again, if you want the lights off, I always tell people to turn them on when they leave, just so you don't run into the table. I learned that. the
Does
hard
anyone
way.
want the lights off?
Okay, do it. Do
pretty
it,
cool.
Marshall.
I'm the one that sits in here in the dark by
Okay,
myself.
guys, tell me when to turn them off. Now?
Let's
Okay, John.
And we'll have fun.
turn
guys.
off the light, John.
I love that.
John.
John, turn off the light.
John, turn
John.
off your light.
Oh, sorry.
Who invited you?
It's when you're just sitting there like talking to them like, hey, what's alive? Like, I'm sure when we all die, I don't want like someone to be all, hey, can you not? You'd be like,
So we just got out of the club Washoe, which is a haunted tour. Apparently it's been haunted for hundreds of years, back in the 1800s when it was first built. So we just got out of there and we had a couple experiences with some of our friends here. So Reese, Rochelle, you guys want to tell me what happened?
Go ahead, Rochelle.
So what I found, because I don't believe those things, and this is the first time I do that ghost hunting one. So like, I felt a heavy feeling at the back of my neck, and then I have a hold on my arms, and I'm having goosebumps right now. And that's kind of scary experience for me because that's the first time I felt it.
Reese?
So it was the first room that we went into, and I just felt a really
heavy, dark presence.
Same as Rochelle.
Yeah, it was very heavy, and it just felt dark and black. Like the room was dull, but the presence that I felt was black. And I was in there for a while, and I was looking around, and I didn't think anybody else was feeling it. I thought surely somebody else would. I couldn't stand it. I had to leave the room. As soon as I walked out of that room, the feeling left me.
And unknown to you, Rochelle was feeling it at the same time.
Exactly.
Yep, the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
creepy.